Yeah, here. We're fine. Hello, everyone. Welcome again to Garage.
We're a music podcast for music lovers.
Today, we welcome back Mr. Phillip Lombardo. Welcome back to the podcast. There you go. You got the old train whistle blow.
What's going on?
Yeah, welcome back, man.
Appreciate it,
If you're not
bro.
familiar with Phil, check out, I think I can actually do it on YouTube now. Check out the link for the episode Rap Snacks that Phil was on, the very first episode that you were on.
Yep.
Audio only, was pre-video.
Yes, sir.
But we had a great conversation, talked some of his favorite hip-hop albums.
And now we're in the future with video.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
We're in the future. So, welcome. He's our guest host for
Appreciate
the full episode. So
let's
Luke,
let's talk about
let's
it.
talk about some music news real quick at the top.
I'm a big fan of doctors. So yep. Who isn't? No, not really.
Love doctors.
Dr. Love.
Yeah.
The Gene Simmons behind us. So I came across this. Taylor Swift, the sensation
Pop country.
singer-songwriter lady, she is an honorary doctor of art.
Yeah. Fine arts, I believe.
Nice.
Yeah.
Was that, so you said, the way that you put it, she's like an
She's
honorary doctor. So
She's
did
an
they
art
just,
doctor.
right, but did they,
If you have a painting that's sick, Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift will take care of it for you.
That's how I
She's a doctor
interpreted
of art.
this whole, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, well, maybe.
This paintbrush is sad.
So what I'm saying though is that did she actually earn college credits for that in order to earn a doctorate in fine arts, or was NYU just kind of like, you're Taylor Swift, you can be a doctor?
I mean, I think celebrity role plays a part in it.
Yeah, it's got to,
No
right?
doubt.
NYC and the University of New York was just like, hey, Taylor Swift, we have sick art and you need to heal it. So
Yeah, right.
that's
But
what
she
happened
gave a
there.
commencement speech.
Yes, I'll
at
give you
the graduation at Yankee Stadium.
I'll give you a nice quote. I would like to
Oh.
thank NYU for making me technically, on paper at least, a doctor. Not the type of doctor you would want around in the case of emergency, unless your specific emergency was you desperately needed to hear a song with a catchy hook, an intensely cathartic bridge, or if your emergency was that you needed a person who came over 50 breeds of cats in 1 minute. Who can name over 50 breeds of cats in 1 minute. Sorry.
She knows over 50 breeds of cats.
Damn.
Apparently.
It sounds like she should have got her doctorate in like veterinary sciences or something. If you know 50 breeds of cats.
It sounds like she should have got her doctorate in loneliness.
I'm gonna go home and do some research on cats, and then
Yeah.
I'll go for my doctorate.
Yeah.
So,
Doctorate in felinology.
I just wanted to shout out the people in the music world really achieving higher education.
Yeah, good for them. It's like when Tommy Lee went to to college for that show that one time,
Dude.
and he couldn't even play drums with a marching band.
Coming on Get in the Garage, we cover the VH1 series Tommy Lee Goes to College.
Oh, we should.
We should.
We haven't done a full length Rock of Love one yet,
We'll get there.
and Flavor of Love,
We'll get there.
classic. Come on,
Oh man.
Flavor Flav.
Yes, sir.
Never found love.
We had to do the
Well, he did.
the rewatch.
Sort of. Yeah, we'll have to do the rewatch.
But,
Found love like 4 times.
Yeah, and then Brigitte Nielsen was the.
He has a big heart.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember her.
A heart as
Yeah.
big as his clock.
She's like an Amazon woman.
Yeah.
She's like 6'5" or something crazy like that, and he's just like looking
Jumping
up at
on her
and shit.
back and
yeah,
just-
man, he's like holding her like a baby, or she's holding him like a fucking baby.
Foofy,
So,
foofy.
yeah, yeah. She knows
Oh
what's
my
called.
god.
Foofy,
That
foofy.
brings back memories.
Yeah, right. Come on, man. That
Jeez.
VH1 trash television.
So good.
So good.
But
But right on. Congratulations to Taylor Swift.
check out the commencement
Yeah.
speech. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
You know,
Shout out to her.
it's interesting.
Yeah.
Also,
Speaking of new.
yeah, I've been shouting out bands that are releasing records, at least by like rock bands that I'm interested in the most part. The OCs have a new album coming out. They released a new music video. That music video, the song is called Funeral Solution. Me and Mike definitely watched it. It's like stop motion, crazy.
Yeah.
It's really fun. The whole thing is shot in stop motion.
Yeah.
But the OCs are a great like psych rock band. A lot of fun like garage rock guitar. If you haven't checked them out, I would highly suggest them.
Yeah.
But the new album comes out August 12th on Castle Face Records. So but check out the new single Funeral Solution.
Yeah. Also,
And new music video. It's really cool.
yeah, great song too.
And the band's
All killer, no filler.
when I say
Straight
the
up.
band's called the OCs, I say OSEES.
Because when I searched them, I searched OHSEES.
That was one of their band names at one
Yeah.
point. They keep changing it in variations of
Yeah.
the same name.
Wow.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
check that out. It's interesting, great, cool stop motion.
Yeah, and the song itself is great. I listened to the song before I watched the music video, and I thought the song itself held up. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes if you attribute something to a music video,
yeah.
it enhances the quality of the song. You know,
Right,
but
yeah,
the song
hell yeah.
separately, great song.
And if you're a fan of the OCs, they're going to more like a punk direction. And they were like a prog kind of behemoth before, but now
Yeah.
it's kind of getting more in a punky thing. It's pretty interesting, very cool.
Yeah.
If you are prone to seizures, do not watch that video. So
Yeah, a lot of flashing lights and quick cuts. And
well,
kinda
there's
psychedelic
also a warning in the beginning of it.
Oh, is there?
Yeah,
I didn't
I'm
catch
just
the warning.
I'm just shouting out. If you're prone to seizures, I'm
Yeah,
not trying
no.
to reach it. I'm not trying
Yeah.
to rickroll somebody into
Yeah,
a
into a seizure. Jesus. All right. Well, let's
So,
move on.
on that point, also, before we get to our forever tragic music deaths that we usually do, it's Pete Townshend's birthday. So shout out
Happy
Pete Townsend.
birthday, Pete Townsend, guitar player for
Yeah.
the Who. Pete Townsend.
Cool.
Happy birthday.
Check out the Rolling Stone interview he did. It's a very Pete Townsend interview. If you ever know Pete Townsend, he gives
Yeah.
these crazy long, like way too like personal interviews all the time, where he like just gives a lot. He like tell you everything like he thinks about it. And you're like, oh, you didn't
Yeah.
hold back at all. So he did that again. Check it out. It's on their Instagram page. If you go and check that out, I'm sure we're gonna link that article in
can
there.
do that, yeah.
So yeah, check it out. And we're also gonna link the Taylor Swift article or probably the commencement speech video. So check
Yeah.
that out as well.
Right on.
Michael, who died?
Well, I'll tell you who died. His name is Vangelis Papathanassíou, and he. Thank you.
Beautiful pronunciation.
He was originally a member of the band Aphrodite's Child, which was like a progressive rock, like a Greek progressive rock band. And of course, my heritage and stuff, I always try to look out for.
Mike's Greek music news.
Yeah, thank you.
Ta-da-da.
We gotta get a bouzouki. It's just like
Thank you. I
little
really
intro.
didn't want to like come up with something and kind of like make it a little too racist.
yeah.
So,
well, it's not. I mean,
So I laid off it all.
you're good.
You know,
You're good.
I laid off it all.
Mike's Greek news. Something
Yeah,
like
I was
that.
like, I
You gotta
didn't.
go
I
for that.
did. No, I did not want to do that.
I can do that though because I'm Greek. So anyway, rest in peace, Vangelis. So not only was he in the band Aphrodite's Child, but he also did a lot of film score work and stuff too. Most famously, Blade Runner and the 1981 film Chariots of Fire.
Dude, you know that movie. Mike's like, I haven't seen that movie. You know that movie.
Chariots of Fire.
Yeah, man. It's like about like dudes running, I think.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, man.
I don't know. I know the Running
Dudes
Man.
running.
I know.
I think it's
Maybe.
a historical drama written by what is it about? 2 Olympic athletes who runs for the glory of God.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it's literally a movie about 2 dudes in the Olympics. They're like, we're running.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I don't think I've seen that movie.
Yeah.
Sorry. But anyway,
I think the scene
Onward.
that you were talking to me about afterwards, about like Rocky, the end of Rocky 3 on the beach.
Yeah.
I'm almost positive like that scene is referencing that movie.
that movie. There's like a beach running scene.
Yeah,
in
Chariots
that.
of Fire is like 1981.
Yeah, it's
sure.
81. Yeah.
So
Oh, interesting.
either way,
Yeah. So
rest in peace.
Either way, rest in peace. Yeah,
So
it is.
that was our little upfront.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
What are we gonna get into, Mike?
We're gonna get into something, but before we do, we're gonna take a quick break, and then we'll come back.
And DMX is gonna tell
And
you.
then DMX.
He's gonna tell you where the hood's at.
He's gonna
Earl.
tell you where the hood's at.
Yes.
Earl Simmons. Yeah, we'll be right back. All right, everyone, welcome back to Get in the Garage.
It's a music podcast.
Music lovers. That's right. So, on to the main event. We were talking about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame not too long ago, and DMX's name came up because we were talking about like Eminem getting chosen over a Tribe Called Quest, and like what does that mean, and is that like a legit kind of thing? And Jeff, funny enough, brought up DMX because he was just like, think about it, man, like the records that he set with album sales and all that was just incredible. But
For all his first 5 albums debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200.
and the first 2 in 1998
in
both
1 year, right?
in one
In 1
calendar
year.
year. It's the only album. It's the only artist that has had 2 #1 albums in 1 calendar year.
Which is,
I think.
I don't think that's ever going to be topped again.
No,
That's like a
no,
time
no,
and
no.
place, like a record sale thing. It's like I don't think anyone's going to come close.
Yeah. So, born Earl Simmons, December 18th, 1970. DMX. There's some sort of like, I don't know if it's like the DMX mythology or something like that, but like nobody really knows where he was born for some reason. I couldn't find that, but he famously is from Yonkers, New York.
Yes, sir.
Pretty much raised there. His father had left. He was raised by his mother. His mother was very, very abusive and like not a very loving woman to him. And he was very angry. And to no big surprise, because I mean, you listen to his music, and it's like the angriest fucking rap music I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, his song "Slippin'."
Yeah,
you know,
Slippin'.
I mean, that's like one of the kind of songs he like brings it out and talks about it. And
yeah, man. So, you know, as the story goes, he started at around 14. He was actually like a really good beatboxer, and then he started expanding into hip hop and learning how to rhyme and all that stuff. I guess he ended up going to.
He would like make like tapes of and like sell them on the street of like he would like re-rapping over people's like beats. You'd be like, I know this song, and he would just be like, take the beat, like take off the vocal, like loop the shit, and just like put his own shit on top of it.
Woody.
Yeah, and like that's how,
shit.
and he would sell them on the corner as like mixtapes.
Oh,
No
wow.
shit.
Like this is me, and then it would just be like somebody else's like shit.
Yeah.
But like he's rapping on top of it and like doing it like way dirtier than like other people would like
Yeah.
have ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he unfortunately had, you know, addiction issues and stuff like that, and he was also, you know, I guess a thief. Would that be the correct? He would steal, like he would steal from people, you know.
Yeah, crackhead tendencies.
That's what I'm saying. He had when he did what he felt like he had to do, you know. What can you do? But he ended up coming to rap and released the first 2 albums, It's Dark and Hell is Hot, and Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood, 1998. And I was thinking about it, right? And like, what else was happening in 98? Like, because I'm trying to think, and like, as I had seen, I watched sort of a documentary about DMX, separate from this specific film,
Right.
And like it was showing like, you know, rappers at this point had made it. So like Puffy was rapping about like private jets and drinking champagne and all this stuff, and then DMX comes out in 1998, and it's just right back to like that dark, brooding, angry, wild kind of. It's reminiscent of like you know, Wu-Tang and Mobb Deep.
That's because everybody was tired of everything that, you know, everybody else was doing, because everybody was doing the same type of music, especially being from the city.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he brought out that gritty,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that gritty music, and like everybody from like Florida to Atlanta to, you know, especially New York, like they love DMX.
Yeah, man.
Like
people sleep on DMX sometimes, and it's sad.
Speaking to the grittiness of it and like the immediateness of it, like the beats on some of these things are like clipped, like the bass is clipped and stuff. Like the beats aren't like high def by any means. Like a lot of it is like really bare bones stuff. But what's happening is DMX is so raw and to the point. You're not even hearing the beat.
You're just listening to him shout at you.
Yes, because he's like I mean, even like, you know, like a lot of the songs are like like MIDI horns going like you know, like da na 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 na. He's singing over like a MIDI horn line, which like isn't that hard. Like let's be straight. And he'll make it the hardest shit you've ever heard, and you're just like, damn, man, it's gritty, it's raw, and he makes like those tracks like they pop in like a different way. Like the production on them is so like kind of like it's got, I think, like a little bit like you were saying, like the Atlanta kind of like ness of it, but it's also his style is so to New York and gritty, and you know.
Yeah.
He can switch up on anything, honestly. Like, you ever seen him do Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Oh hell yeah, man!
Bro, like, you know what I mean? Like,
and it kind of became a meme, but you watch it.
yeah, like, you know,
Yeah.
like he killed this. So,
Yeah.
you know, and he's DMX. He's funny. Like,
Yeah.
he's just a funny guy. So it's just
Right, and like,
That's a red vixen. When he starts doing that, I'm like, who gives it?
and
Like,
then he
who
does
cares?
like
Like,
the B on the D.
yeah,
Yeah,
dude,
but then it gets like he gets into it, and you're like, man, you're like Rudolph's hard as fuck right now.
yeah, right. Like Rudolph.
like,
Like,
come on.
Rudolph. You're like, damn, this Rudolph was from the streets. This
Yo,
is
like
the anthem.
like at Christmas when my kids come downstairs and go, that's what I'm playing.
Yeah.
I'm playing that. Like,
Hell yeah.
Come on, dude, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's not. You can't even deny it.
And it's sad because it kind of became a meme, you know,
But it's
kind
that
of thing.
it's that
But
same
like, who
shit.
cares?
It's that same shit I was talking about last week. There's a video of Biz Markie earnestly doing Benny and the Jets.
rest in peace.
Yeah, fucking
rest in
another
peace.
one, man. And he's earnestly singing Benny and the Jets, the Elton John song. But he does the whole thing in his like whacked out voice. He's like, Benny and the Jets.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like you're like, what the fuck, man? You're, like,
Yeah.
you're like, man, it's fucking. He puts like what? He puts a lot of soul in it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like doesn't
yeah.
even matter that it's yeah.
But the real like we want to talk about DMX because Phil's like, let's talk DMX. Let's bring it to the table. He's a classic artist.
Yeah.
You know, much respect, and
Yeah.
we want to like bring it and you know sing the praises. But what we really wanted to like focus it around too was really kind of showing DMX in another kind of light as like a classic great artist. And
Yeah.
Definitely.
around that we wanted to talk about the documentary DMX Don't Try to Understand.
Yep.
It was released on HBO November 25th of last year, 2021. And
It's crazy.
yeah, man, this documentary was like, it was. If you are like into this podcast right now and you aren't a DMX fan because you might have some preconceived notions about who DMX is
Yeah.
or what DMX did, you should watch this podcast. Not this podcast. You should watch this documentary. I'm sorry.
Yeah. There is also an accompanying podcast.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
I will
Just
have to
one
check that
it's
out.
one it's on HBO. It's under the special features. If you
Yeah.
scroll down a little bit, like that's associated to this. But yeah, also worth a watch.
But yeah, like it'll definitely give you another view of the man because
Yeah.
like and I'm gonna say this, take a lot of rock stars, you know, the guitar wielding guys, and we give them a lot of slack for like who they were as people. If their art was kind of, you know, DMX is a great artist, a complicated man, and this documentary is. We're gonna get into it, but
Yeah.
like it showed why it added so much context. So like
Yeah.
I mean, let's get into it. Like
Yeah.
you know, DMX is a classic artist. All of his first 5 releases go to #1.
Yeah, no question.
This documentary starts
No question.
with DMX getting out of jail. So like you know,
Yeah. Yeah, because I think he was in jail for I don't think it was that long, but he was in for like tax evasion. I think.
Yeah. I
Which
know he has some tax
I can
problems.
kind of
Yeah.
I can speak to that a little bit. If anyone's familiar with Sheriff Joe Arpaia from Arizona, who Trump pardoned, I don't agree with his politics or how he treats inmates or prisoners at all. If you ask me, he was kind of a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But he's famous for being a real asshole and you know, very divisive. But he kind of bullied DMX and where DMX lived out in Arizona and really started what would and there's a Rolling Stone article about it too, and check that out. It's called DMX Meets the Devil in Arizona or something like
Really?
that.
Okay.
And I highly recommend it. Check it out because it details like because you're like, how did this dude that's like, you know, got out of the hood?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is happening?
Yeah.
And so what's happening is DMX is going on tour. They go to the house. The guy that was supposed to check the dogs doesn't check the dogs. Dogs look a little under sick. You know, animal abuse charges. We find some weed. There's guns. Right. So we get in that situation. So basically, DMX doesn't have a driver's license. You shouldn't drive without a license. But DMX leaves to go to the store, pulled over, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ticket. It was like
Targeted.
yeah, like really targeted. You know, DMX probably should have had some other people around him getting his stuff together, but
Yeah.
that's what really leads into all of these. Then DMX has a lot of children,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's what I think I read
15 at this
15.
point.
Yeah, I was gonna say 14 or 15.
I think,
Yeah.
he has
about
I
that,
think
yeah.
it's 11 mothers, something like that.
Yeah, it's 15 children from 11.
No judge, you know, our man Bob Marley.
Yeah, he was.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? But like so because he had all of these people coming after him for child support, that's where you get the tax evasion going on because he was struggling to live in and out of prison, hard to get money, didn't have a bank account, and really is the story of harassment, is like kind of crazy because we're like, how does this very successful person get harassed like this? People of color harassed like this around our country on a daily basis, and the story of DMX is the story of almost tons of people in our country on a daily basis, like the no bank accounts, the harassment by the police, the can't seem to get it together. So this documentary shows humanity to that. So
I think
sorry,
so. Yeah.
I kind of spoke.
No,
but
that was good.
I went in deep because man, I'm like, how does this happen to this dude?
Yeah, because it's basically like he's a celebrity, but he's famous. He's more to like he's just famous, but he's normal.
Yes.
Like normal like us. Like he probably like EBT and shit like that. Like like a ODB.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Like
right,
a ODB.
Right.
Like you know what I mean? Like just living the gritty life. Shit's rough. Everything's hitting him at once.
And even with success,
and it's hard to keep up with that. Like you said, like it's hard to keep up with that shit. Like especially with the kids and people wanting money from you all around you, and you gotta, man.
Yeah.
And like so, this documentary, man. Like speaking of like he's like me and you. He like DMX says in the songs, I can go to the projects, and you ask people when's the last time you see DMX. Oh, he's here. Da 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 da. Mm-hmm. So in that he's talking to people outside, giving mentoring.
Yeah, like spiritual, like
preaching.
And he's not dumb.
No. And he's reciting Bible verses. He gets at the first scene. He's getting out of jail, and they're driving him home, and it's in a snowstorm. And he's they're asking what he did, and he goes, "Well, I read the Bible again." And you're like, "Yeah, you did."
Yeah.
And it's like he's a struggling person, a man of faith. He's like in the things he's saying to the people outside. He's not like I'm DMX. He's like, this is how you should come at it with your raps, man. This is how you should come at it. He's like, oh man, that happened to me too. Like my mom didn't, wasn't the best to me, man. And like, and people, just are resonating with him so hard, man.
Yeah, man.
Made me so sad to watch it.
Dude,
I was so sad for DMX.
No, yeah, man, because he went through a lot of shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and it was like nobody couldn't see it.
Yeah,
it's like one of those things. It's like nobody seen it. All they seen was like, why are you fucking up?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Dude.
You're DMX. Why are you fucking up? It's like he's Earl. Like he's not just
right
to him. He's DMX, but like. He's normal, bro.
Yeah. And then, like, for me, man, all right, so, like, I'm, like, as milquetoast white boys that come. So, like, for me, I'm like, what is up with DMX, man? Like, and I'm watching this documentary, and the people that are talking to him on, like, his people, they're not asking him, man, what happened to you? They're going, how are you doing, man?
Yeah.
So, like, that conversation, too, where you're like, you don't have to ask. They know, you know what I mean?
Right,
that's, like... You want to talk man of the people? Like, whew, that dog, like, the flag waver. Like, that dude that's waving the flag. Do you guys remember that?
Well, he's sweeping the. Well, the guy they talked to he's sweeping the street.
Yeah, and, like, the guy's, like, talking. The guy waving the flag down the street's, like, talking shit on DMX. Like, he ain't nothing anymore. He ain't nothing. He ain't like that anymore. And the guy is like, let me tell you about DMX.
Yeah, man. He's like, I went to prison in 1984 and I came out in 2014. He's like, as far as I'm concerned, that man's a fucking prophet.
Yeah.
He's like, that dude got me through prison.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah,
like not to go off track, but like
no, please.
When I go on like if I'm on Facebook and I see like people like viral posts going through like DMX videos, I'll like go through comments and you see so many people saying like how he saved them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And how like when they grew up, like his album was like kept them from doing like committing suicide and all this other stuff. And it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy because these are just random people around the world.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow. But he was going through his own thing too,
Yeah.
And like it's in his music, man. Like he is the music is one. He's got a lot of like has the party anthems. You know what I mean? He's got those kind of things, but he's also even in those, there's still like positive messages of I've been there, or like there's a lot of negative, but the negative is like, yeah, man, like it's just like you're going through it, and we're gonna get through it, and then like there's the positive, like if you want, like there's like Jesus in your life. You can like latch onto that and like trust me because I've been in my darkest, and that's how you get out of it. And it's like that message resonates with people on so many levels. It's in all the songs, man. It's like the dude in the music video. It's like anybody that has any and like let's talk about like the people in that documentary, man. Like those autograph seekers. He's like, I've been trying to get your autograph for 10 years, man. And he's like, I don't care. And then like he is with that dude who's like an extra, I think, in the music video. And they start rapping together because he's like, man, I know you. And you're almost like, when it starts, he's like sitting behind DMX on like the stoop. And when he starts like talking, you almost think like, this guy fucking like is trying to like butter DMX up like behind him. And then he keeps talking. He keeps talking to DMX. And DMX is listening. And he's like, oh, okay, you're real deal. And then by the end of it, they're rapping DMX lyrics to each other. And DMX is going with him. And like he's like, that song like got me through it, man. That got me through it. They cry. They're in hugs. And everyone around's like, what just happened? Like, and DMX does this time and time and time. He's giving so much of himself that like no other artist was like. I'm telling you, man, like you bringing DMX to the table for me, was like, I don't know DMX, and what I'm thinking is like DMX, I don't know. DMX is like one of the fucking greatest artists I think that's ever existed, solely for how he connected with the people. That's fucking art, man. Those people are moved. They're not the same people.
Not at all. His fans they're different. You know what I mean? Like he's like you said, he's a star. He's sad, man.
It is sad, man, because he got like another. I was watching because I went down the rabbit hole, and like I was saying, I saw another documentary, and he, from what I gathered, man, like he had hardcore imposter syndrome. Like in other words, he's just like, why me? Like I'm not, like I'm nobody. You know what I mean? Like he was always in that like place of crisis where he's like, why was I the one that was selected to do this giant thing? Because I mean, listen, man, there are artists, right, that like try really hard and they struggle, and they have some breakthrough and they have a couple of classic songs and blah blah blah. This dude had fucking #1 album after #1 album consistently for 5 fucking albums. That's a what the fuck?
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? Accomplishment for a dude who's just like, I don't. Okay, you know what I mean? He's like,
just
thank you.
Music, like,
but they were saying that when he went in, I forget who the CEO of Def Jam at the time was, but what's his name? Who's that DJ? Is Irv Gotti? He was part of Rough Riders, right? It was Irv Gotti, wasn't it?
Irv Gotti, he's Murder Inc.
He's Murder Inc.
Yeah, he's like Ja Rule and all that.
I think it
you talking about Swiss Beats?
Oh, is it Swiss Beats?
Yeah,
because I know he worked with Swiss Beats too, but I was trying to think of who was in Rough Riders originally. I thought Irv Gotti was one of them.
These are the presidents of Def Jam. We have this nice list right here.
Oh, that
is that what you're looking for?
No, I was looking for something else. But either way,
okay. So
right before DMX goes into Def Jam to basically audition for Def Jam, because nobody wanted to pick him up. He was too raw. Diddy was doing this shit with champagne bottles and stuff. You know what I mean? That's what fucking rap was at that point. It was like the cold, hard fucking like infamous Mobb Deep days are behind us. We're sipping champagne and wearing Gucci sweaters now. You know what I mean?
Money.
The Cristal years.
The Cristal. Yeah, it was like the very beginning of like the Cristal years. Yeah, the MTV Cribs is only a few years away. You know what I mean? We're almost there. So nobody wanted to touch him, but I guess so. Like right before that, he gets I forget what happens. He gets mistaken for being somebody else, and he gets the shit kicked out of him. These dudes, like 5 dudes, jump him and beat the fuck out of him. Right, to the point where he's almost dead. His like jaw was wired shut. He was held up in the hospital for a while. He was finally out of the hospital, and they're like, "Yo, here's your shot. Like, let's do it." So he goes into a studio, dude, and he's rapping with his jaw wired shut. And the president of Def Jam at the time was like, you could hear wires breaking while he's rapping. You can hear them just like popping because he was like so aggressively going at it that he started just ripping his jaw open from it being wired shut. And then we was just like, this is our guy. We're signing him today. Like, this is a fucking done deal. He is great. Like,
better.
Incredible, you know? I mean, it made when I heard that, naturally, I thought of Kanye because Kanye did the jaw being wired shut thing. But when I heard that, 50 Cent did it. But when I heard that, I'm like, oh, he might be the...
They talked about that on Rogan today.
Did they?
Yeah, Bert Kreischer was like, yo, man, you got to watch that Kanye West documentary.
Yeah.
He's like, he talks about Through the Wire, man.
I haven't. Yeah, I still haven't watched that yet.
No,
I still haven't watched it.
I haven't watched that either. I was like, I heard
when
about
it came
out,
Phil was like, you have to watch it. I'm like, I know,
Dude,
and I just haven't fucking watched it.
They said it was dope because, like, he's like, either they were like, nobody was fucking videotaping themselves then. And Kanye's just walking around, like, videotaping and then saying everything he was gonna do, and then he's like, I'm gonna do this and then that, and then everyone's like, all right, dude, and then he's just like, and then you're like, oh my god, you fucking did it.
I'm telling you, watch it.
Yeah, they were like, that's what it's like, and he's videotaping the whole thing, and everybody's like, why are you videotaping this shit? And he's just like,
it's sort of like how the DMX thing is, but it like, obviously he's younger, but it's crazy because, like you said, back then nobody was recording like that, you know what I mean? So it's like you don't really get footage from, you know, back in the like 2000s and
you're
90s
watching,
and shit like
you're
that,
watching,
you know?
like, I mean, genius Kanye West, man. Like,
right, that's what I mean.
And you're watching it while it's happening,
right?
Like in real time.
So you get to see where these albums come from.
Yeah.
In that documentary. So yeah, definitely watch that if you have not watched it.
Yeah, that's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on Netflix,
Yeah.
man.
Netflix.
I don't even have to get another streaming service. I'm fucking in, dog.
Yeah, right.
Fucking in.
I only have HBO because I have your HBO. I traded him for my Disney Plus though, so
Really?
it's an even trade. I was like, I'll give you Disney Plus if I can get HBO.
I got everything.
Like, all right.
Let me know. I got Hulu, all that.
But yeah, it's like, so speaking to maybe like first experiences, like what was your first experience? Like, is DMX that kind of artist where you remember where you were and what you were doing, or was DMX just always there? Because I have bands and artists that like have just always been,
right,
and then ones where I'm like, okay, this is a thing right now.
Right. So I mean, with DMX was like obviously the first song he made was with Sheik Luch, you know, but when I first heard him was obviously during the summer. Can't remember the year. What year it came out, but he came out with the Rough Riders anthem.
Okay,
Rough Riders anthem. When I tell you that shook New York.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
That summer, well, at least for like 2 summers, that song.
Yeah, that would have been
crazy.
1998. That's the first track on the first album. Well, there's an intro track, but the first song is the Rough Riders anthem. Yeah,
bro, that song went crazy. So yeah, that brought DMX to life for me. And from there it was me just doing my own research and you know. So I mean, I was born in '92. So by the time that came, I heard that, and then I was just researching shit. Yeah, I was hooked, bro. Yeah, you know, early.
Yeah, I mean I had a cousin who had Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood, and I would like be playing like N64 and shit or whatever it was, or my PlayStation or something, and that was one of the CDs that he had, man, and that was my first experience of DMX, and like I was like, this guy is just on some other shit right now. Yeah. He has one song where, at the end of that record, Ready to Meet Him, that song where he's like arguing with God.
Yeah.
And he's like, he speaks to himself through the voice of God. Yeah. And he's like, thou shalt not kill. He's like, but what if he's trying to kill me? Like, thou shalt not steal. But what if he stole from me? He's like, thou shalt not use my name in vain. You know, he does the thing, and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yo,
you know?
he's different. But like Kanye, he talks about, you know, Kanye does the God thing, but you got to think about DMX did it before anybody was doing it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just talking about it. Like, back then, nobody was rapping about God and
it was so dark too. Yeah. Like, that's the thing. It was like I don't know, because Kanye has this sort of gospelish thing about him, but DMX has this sort of like pick up your cross and walk thing about him. Right. You know what I mean? Like he's trudging through the muck and he's bringing you with him.
Yeah, and then the difference between them two is like Kanye got the gospel from his upbringing and then his mom. Yeah. And dad. You know what I mean? Like, and where DMX is, he found God through his struggles.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because
yeah, man.
Even his initial introduction to faith.
That's the point, dude. That's the point, though, because
even his introduction
Crazy.
to the faith. His mother was hardcore Jehovah's Witness, and they have a very, very strict set of rules, and and stuff like that. Like, and but it was a bad experience for DMX.
Mm-hmm.
So his faith itself was really shattered at such a young age, with just the faith being attached to his mother, and his mother being this very abusive and like unloving sort of mother figure. Like, she rejected him, and he would confide in his grandmother. His grandmother basically was like where he found his love and all that.
Yeah. It's usually how it goes.
So but for it to come back around full circle, and him to like rediscover his faith in his Christianity, and then have it become such an integral part of who he was, is such a great. You know what I mean? He had to reject it to re-find it, to come back to it, and it's so. Oh my God, man! It's so passionate,
Yeah, and you hear him talk, and you're like, it's captivating. If that's your bread and butter, if Jesus is your thing, man, it's my thing. It's captivating, man.
Yeah.
And it's like and it kind of strikes me as like, it's heavy, but like that's the DMX is the kind of person like Jesus would have hung out with. That's like like that's kind of like the bottom line of it, and and the rap's got all these like connotations about it, and all this shit that's all this stuff on it, and then that documentary, DMX is starting the show and ending the show with a prayer.
Facts.
And everybody in the room
is in tune.
Is into it.
Yeah.
And nobody in that room is going to church, but in that moment, DMX is
Facts.
like,
"Let us pray."
This is a church, and then like it starts off, and then he's like, "All right, Rough Riders anthem," and then the room's like,
Right.
Oh, and you're just like, what the fuck just happened? Did DMX just say a prayer to Jesus and then fucking rip into Rough Riders anthem and start barking? And it's just like, yes, man. And like both of those things, that's DMX in a nutshell.
Yeah.
It's like that whole thing is his bread and butter. It's the great artistry. It's the yin and yang of it all. But like, man.
That shows you how much in tune, because I look at it like when he does that whole prayer with his, with the fans and everything, that shows you he cares about his fans more. Because usually artists, if you see like documentaries or behind the scenes, they'll do that prayer stuff before they go on stage.
Right, dude.
You
with
know
like
what I
the
mean?
crew, and they're like,
they're like,
all right, everybody,
right?
like,
You know what I mean? Let's get this
show.
So he'll bring that shit to the stage, and it's more like, let me do this with my fans and interact with everybody else. That's how I look at it.
Yeah,
dude. That's where it's that you're picking it up, man. That shit's where it's at though, because you're right.
He's not selfish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's like, out of all he's been through, he's still not selfish. Like somebody like him should be fucking selfish.
Yeah, like, right.
Yeah. And you're right, man. Like watching that shit, it was like the main like focus you go away with is like, he was never like, why me? He was always just like, all right,
roll with the punches.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It was never like, why me? It's
Facts.
like, it's the end of the documentary, man, where he's having that sweet ass moment, and they're sitting in the kitchen, and you're just like,
and they're singing that. What song is it?
you said it's Ella Fitzgerald's song.
Yeah.
But
simple day.
Yeah.
Dude, it's amazing.
And it's just like he's soaking up the moment.
Yeah.
Everybody in the room and then somebody in the room's like kind of doing something, and he goes, that can wait.
Yeah.
He's like, bring it in. Just feel the vibe.
Yeah.
Feel the vibe.
Facts.
Sit in the song for a second. And you're right. That's what he does with his audience too. He's like, I'm gonna bring you here, and then I'm gonna bring you here. And they and they don't know. You know what I mean? It's the work of a great preacher, man.
Yeah,
it's
man.
like
he had aspirations of becoming a minister.
Yeah.
That's like what he really wanted to do. Yeah.
That'd have been great.
Right.
Bruh, if he opened up his own church, I'm there.
The gospel according to X, man.
I'm moving to wherever state in Arizona, wherever he want to go.
Yeah.
Dude, but like you like bringing this to the table, man. Like, dude, it just like elevated my thoughts on DMX, and it just like it blows my mind. Like, me, man. Like if you want to know like where my like beginning of DMX comes on, it's like I remember Up in Here that tune. That song on the radio, man. I remember my pops being like, it came on the radio, and my pops works. My dad was a CO, so he was, so he'd been hearing this shit because it was blowing up. Yeah. So it must have been blowing up in there too.
Oh yeah.
Oh right.
And my dad's like, clicks it, and he's like, you know what the song is about? And I'm like, what? And he's like, he can't live in here or in there. He can't live anywhere. And he's like, up in there is prison, and up in there is the streets. He's like, he's like anywhere. It's like that's what the. And my dad's like, he's like, I can't listen to that shit. He must have been hearing that shit 24. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was.
Dude.
Well, that's a great thing I love about his music too, is that like it's so anthemic. You know what I mean? Like he has the rawness and all of that stuff, but his hooks are great. Yeah. Amazing hooks. The beats are great too. Like you said, it's kind of like these MIDI horns. And it's kind of like, I would say if there's any part about it, his music that sounds a touch dated, it's the samples, but it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. Like, because it's just, you're like, dude, all I remember is looking at that album and seeing him covered in blood, and it's like a 9-year-old me being like, this man scares the shit out of me. And then I listen to it, and I'm just like, what? Like, this is real. Like, you know, because it's funny, that song, Ready to Meet Him, I connected with so much, and it's from an interesting place in the way that it's just like, okay, yeah, man, I grew up in fucking Griswold, Connecticut. I grew up next to farms and not a whole lot going on. You know what I'm saying? So I can't be like, oh, I know what DMX is talking about. But there's this quality that he has in his music, especially ones that are more spiritual and religiously oriented and stuff too, because I kind of had a bad experience with religion at one point. And to hear that I find a lot of mirroring with him and I, at the very least, on like a spiritual sense, where like there was a sort of a religious background there that kind of soured for me, and I kind of rejected it, but then I kind of came back around to it, and now it's from a different set of eyes. It's so much more beautiful and such a great thing. Yeah. So like, I just love that, man. I love.
Yeah, he connected with his. But see, that shows he connected with everybody differently. Right. Not so much like, because not like I said, back to the comments in the Facebook. Not everybody that I seen that comment look like they're from the streets.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? So I mean,
there's Bill in Minnesota who's just like, man, this hard.
No,
hard,
real shit. Like you see, like I've seen plenty of white people under them comments, and they're like, yo, bro. Like I've seen Asians under them comments, like, I listen to your shit, bro. Yeah. Rough times. I was a teenager, such and such, and you know, it's all different ways. Being homeless, you could connect to it. Yeah, you know, like being broke.
And that's crazy with him too, man. Is like, if you think about all the money that he made, and he was just still kind of broke the whole time. You're like,
look at his jewelry. Look at the jewelry. The same jewelry he had before he died. Looked like the same jewelry he had. Yeah. When he was in the Rough Riders Anthem video. Yep. And he's like,
it was always just like the choke dog collar.
All of that, just a regular like little.
Dude, that chunky chain he's wearing on Woodstock '99.
Yeah.
It's fucking. He keeps hitting him in the face. He just takes it off and he's holding it.
Yeah. He's like a dog. It's like he's like, that's why he's like, DMX like a dog. So the dog has like a pit bull, has them hefty, you know, collars, and that's what he considered himself as, like, you know, this gritty fucking pit bull. Yeah. Dude, and he loved his pit bulls.
And the talk to, like, you know, the brokenness, man, like the music, like, we talk to it a lot, like, but the music industry has like a crazy way. We have a crazy way of chewing people up and then like spitting them out. And if you watch this documentary, man, you're gonna be. He is a Amy Winehouse of the world. He's a Britney Spears of the world, a Brian Wilson of the world. Like,
use and abuse.
Yeah, man, and it's just like that story. He's like another Amy Winehouse, man, where you look at it and you're like, this specifically didn't need to happen, but like, here we are. And now we're talking like, rest in peace DMX, and it sucks because like, it could have been different.
Yeah, because I think if he stayed alive,
I don't think we got the best of DMX, man.
No,
I think
that's what I mean.
I think DMX's second act would have been like, you know, probably more like on the God Squad, but like, you know, it's not. But like, bro, you know, saving your life and freaking, you know, talking about God, and that's heavy, but like, dude, it's great, you know.
Yeah,
So
shit's crazy, man. It's it's. I hate it because when you usually that shit happens like overnight. So when you wake up and then you read, like you open your phone and you see this shit and it's like DMX died. Yeah.
Yeah.
You go to different media outlets and you're like, no. Like
you hope it's like a weird fake report or some shit like that.
I always do. So I was like, what the fuck?
I know.
Yeah, man.
Not him.
I'm not like a DMX. Like before, like doing this prep on this podcast, I'm not a DMX fan. I watched that documentary, man. I'm bawling multiple times. I'm crying. I'm like, I can't believe this, man.
Yeah.
And then like I'm I'm listening to the music, and then the music's like, it's got context because I know, you feel like you know Earl, man. Like, you know the bar he hangs out at. You know his Subway sandwich order.
Facts.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He tells the cameraman.
Gets in depth, yeah.
Dude, that cameraman, like, I read a thing with him afterwards. And he's like, you know how many times I had to order that Subway sandwich? He's like, I put it in the film for a reason.
Yeah.
He's like, I had to go order that Subway sandwich so many fucking times.
Yeah.
He's like, this because he's like, it's the same one. You got it? He's like in the bar and he's telling them that Subway sandwich. He's like, that's like one of the first times he does it. He's like, all right. He checks it when he gets back. He's like, yep, that's it. And he eats it.
Yeah, I love that when you see him open it and he looks at it. He's like, yeah. He goes into it. You're like,
Dude, but like that's
He appreciates life.
Dude, but that's it though. And he's like, man, he's like filming that documentary. The director's like, I went to so many Dave and Buster's. I went to so many Texas Roadhouses.
Yeah.
And like, man, like I don't know. It's just like I love him. I fell in love with him. Like the music now, dude, I'm a DMX fan.
Makes it 10 times better. 10
Yeah.
times better. That's why I was like, when you said like, oh, they have the documentary, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
All right, say less. And it came at the perfect time,
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because that's like the last thing we have of him.
Yeah.
That and then the
Drink Champs.
Yeah, the Drink Champs. They have a YouTube channel, and then
I know what Drink Champs is.
yeah.
I
And it's a
watched-
long one, man. It's 2 hours and
yeah.
like 39 minutes, 40 minutes long. So it's like it's a great last sort of thing because they hit him with like quick things to just like Nas or Jay-Z. He's like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're like,
the
well, no,
question,
if you like had to pick one, he's just like, no, both of them. You know, and he's like kind of grumbling through the whole thing, and you can hear him like breathing.
Yeah.
You can hear that, like you hear him exhaling and shit.
It's that DMX, man. That's that.
But he's just so great, man.
I'm gonna watch
He's
that
so
again
great.
tonight.
Yeah, it's just It is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
I love real quick to just cite some scenes. Yeah, like some highlight scenes. There's one. I don't think you talked about it yet, but there's one where it's the guy from Live Nation is backstage with him right before he's about to go on stage, and he's just like, "Come on, Dean, like, hey man, like, yeah, big fan." He's like, "Yep, all right, cool, whatever." And he's like, "Do you think we could like snap a picture or something like that?" And he's just like, "I'm in the zone right now." And they're like, "Yo, you're in the zone?" He's like, "Yeah, man, I'm in the zone right now. Like, we'll do it after." And they're like, "Yeah, but well," and the guy like sneaks his way over, and he's like, there's somebody trying to take a picture of him with a dude from Live Nation. He looks over at his like manager or whoever, and he's just like, "You don't listen, do you? I told you no. Like I told you after." And what happened? You still did it anyway. And the guy's like, well, you know, I mean, like, he's this guy from Live Nation. He's like, I don't give a fuck who this guy is. He's like, he's making money. We're making money. Do I owe him anything? No. Fuck it. I said to wait till after. You should have waited until after. And I'm like, I fucking love you, DMX.
But that's
because you know what, man? Those people, Live Nations and Ticketmasters, they have artists by the fucking balls these days. And it's so good and refreshing to see DMX be like, yo, fuck you. I don't care that you book the biggest bands in the fucking world. Eat a dick. I told you to wait and you didn't because you're a cocky motherfucker, so go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
But that's why,
Excuse
like,
my language.
No, but like that's the shit where you're like, oh, dude, I love you because it's that autograph seeker. He's like, I've been trying to, and he's like, I know who you are.
Right.
Get out of here, bro.
Yeah.
It's the people who are like, hey man, you know, I was in jail, blah blah blah. I got that record, man, and that song, and he says this, and DMX locks into that person and goes, I'm gonna give you the next 20 minutes of my life uninterrupted.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna talk to you. I'm gonna be real with you.
I'm gonna pray with you.
But the dude from Ticketmaster, who's fuck you. You haven't looked after me.
Right.
You let me get in all these shitty situations.
Yeah.
You could have just been like, this is what we're gonna do for you, DMX. We're gonna do it because you're making us money.
Yeah. He wasn't a yes man.
Yeah, man. And like they never had his back. The people always had his back, man.
Yeah.
Like he's a man of the fucking people. And it's just like that was clear.
Yeah, he
and that
wasn't with that corporate shit or that
No.
industry shit. You
and
know
like
what I mean?
that was his success too, which is wild, man.
Yeah.
That was the wild thing. It had nothing to do with like somebody being like, do you think this song should be a little more da 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 da? No, it all had to do with DMX's vision, the way he knew people, the shit he's like, people want to hear this. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like, man,
Yeah.
like that's what it is. Telling the dude from Ticketmaster to go fuck himself, and then like talking to the dude on the corner for a fucking
Yep.
hour. That was where you were just like I couldn't fucking believe that. No
Yeah.
other artist was doing that shit.
No,
No
no.
other
I'm try-
artist is doing
That's
this
what I was
shit.
trying to think of. Like, who else like stuck around? Because I mean, you look at like, okay, 50 Cent left. You know what I mean? Like,
But-
I think Prodigy from
Even-
Mobb Deep was probably
even-
one of the only ones that like that stayed.
Even to say this shit,
he?
man.
I don't know.
It's not like Prince was out in the streets of Cincinnati talking to kids
Yeah.
about achieving their dreams, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
it just wasn't happening.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you don't even. Yeah, because speaking out of being a rap artist, like any artist, you know, like you saying, like, just has not done what he's done,
Right.
especially being so direct with the fans. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like,
But he could smell the bullshitters though. That's the best
right,
thing when
right.
you see him.
And that's
'cause
when they
he
came in with
knows
the
who is
Ticketmaster
who.
guy. He was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
you're like, you're a
even-
fucking leech. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like, get out of
Yeah.
here.
And it was a simple request, man. He's just like, can we just take the picture afterwards?
just
Yeah, but like,
And the
he
guy
said he
just
smelled
worms
it.
his
Yeah,
way in
yeah.
there and fucking forces him to take the picture. And
Yep.
and you can see DMX, like, when they actually take the picture, he's like, just
Yeah.
like staring into the. So it's like, that dude played himself anyway, though. 'Cause
Right.
it's just like, would you rather have a good picture with DMX or a
Right.
picture
Well,
that you
bro.
can look at and you go, DMX was really mad at me when we took
Aggravated.
this
Yeah,
picture?
exactly.
You know what I mean?
You know?
Come on,
And
man.
it's in that documentary, and now we're talking about it too. So fucking
Facts.
like fucking yo,
Fuck
who's the
that guy.
clown,
Yeah,
right?
fuck that guy.
Fuck
You know,
that
he's
guy.
like, it's a
Yo,
fucking
for
clown.
real.
Yeah, man.
like he said, you could have fucking waited and
Yeah.
you know, but you thought you was
Yeah.
the man.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That and so that shit like that is just like you can't get any more like real.
Real, yeah.
You can't get any more like in touch with the people who you're making the art for.
He
Yeah.
was too real for the industry.
He-
Too real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well
You're-
said. Because he
You're
definitely,
you're
yeah.
absolutely right, man.
Like
Yeah.
I wish it sucks because I wish like the way he was bringing out music and everything like that, like how everybody is now, a lot of people are going you know, unsigned. Like because of the YouTube thing and
Yeah.
you know, the streaming. Like streaming is where where the money's at.
Yeah.
So right now you don't, if you have that buzz like he did
Mhm.
and he popped, if he would have had that now,
Yeah.
he wouldn't need no Interscope, Def Jam,
No.
you know, any of that shit. Pff, the internet and his fans would have took care of him.
Yeah, because even on streaming services and shit, man, all you have to do is just like be like, I'm a recording artist, and I can release my stuff independently. I pay you however much money it costs a year to make my music available on your streaming service, and it's like we know people who are in
Yeah, I
bands
know
that are
tons of
our
people that
age
put
that
stuff on
have
Spotify.
their music on Spotify. It's
Yeah.
so accessible to people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it would, I mean, granted, I'm pretty sure Def Jam most likely owns the rights to most of like his older music.
Yeah.
But he could have, like we were talking,
you
he
wanna
could
hear
have
something
reinvented
crazy?
himself in an Act 2 move and just had like his own independent shit and just fucking.
I heard he got all his shit back.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah,
They
Jay
gave-
Z.
they-
I think
Jay-Z
I
gave
think
it to him.
Jay-Z and Beyonce bought it out
And gave it to him.
and gave it to him, something like that.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
Could be
that's
wrong.
No,
awesome.
you're right.
He
I
did,
I
yeah.
read that shit. He got all of like his first 5, everything that was on Def Jam.
Yeah.
Before he got off Def Jam, he got all that shit back. They gave it to him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he bought it out. It's like a couple mil.
The one thing I will say is, and we talked about it for a hot minute, there's a scene where they go in and they're talking at Def Jam and they're like explaining to him the record deal they want to give him.
Facts. That's probably one of my favorite parts.
And they're like, all right, DMX, so what we're going to have you do is we're going to have
Well,
you.
do you want the long version or the short version?
Yeah,
He goes, I want no version.
Yeah, he's like, just give me the fucking paperwork and I need to get paid because I have fucking bills to pay, asshole.
Facts.
And then they take all the fucking money from him.
Yo.
And he's all right, so as the story goes, yeah. So they're like, all right, well, we're going to have you do a full-length album for Def Jam. He's like, all right. And then they're like, and then we're going to do the Christmas album. And I'm like, the Christmas album. I'm like, I can dig Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, but if you're gonna like legit put like Frank Sinatra
Mariah
fucking
Carey
style
shit.
shit, like if you're gonna do, if you're doing like that, like a Christmas in fucking hell or something like that, like DMX does Christmas in Hell, you know, like it kind of. So I don't know. I kind of watched it. And I was like, how are they gonna do this guy like that? But then I don't know. It was like an interesting.
But these are these fucking execs, man. They
Yeah.
sit in these fucking offices and they go, They go, Twisted Sister had a Christmas album.
Yeah.
Why doesn't DMX? We saw that clip of you doing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, which we're like talking about as fire. It's cool, but like, you know what I mean?
But it's so much better left off as a once-off, as a throwaway thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. It's a moment.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's kind of like the record labels. When they seek you out, they're already playing your career out.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? Like they come to you and they're like, "This is how your career is gonna go."
Yeah,
they should.
That's how it was with a lot of artists, though, man. They did it to Aretha Franklin. They did that to fucking Little Richard. They did that to. I mean, like historically.
Yeah, tons of people.
It's the money, man. The money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how can we market this person and make as much money off of them as we can?
Because the money they offer, everybody that's has signed a deal has never made no type of money like a record label will offer them. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's not like, even if you offer somebody $1 million, that person, Aretha Franklin, ain't never seen no $1 million. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So if she was to get $1 million record deal, she ain't never seen no $1 million before that record deal. So she got people to feed. Yeah. You know? So it's that numbers play a trick on you, man.
And there's that thing too. Remember we were talking about Jewel, remember? And that episode she was on Rogan, and she was saying something about how like the way the record labels do it is not like they really give you that money. They kind of like they give you loan it.
Yeah, because you gotta pay it back in record. You gotta pay it back in record sales, all that shit. Like, so you can't sit there and just make some bullshit. Right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, mind you, Tory Lanez did that. Did he? I think he's like the only one that did. Like, he made one of his last albums was to get out the contract, so he had to make one more album. But he made a bullshit album. Did he? And actually being a fire album.
Did it really?
He doesn't like it, but it's very fire.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, but that's kind of like what he did. You know what I mean?
That's like tons of people do that. Like Van Morrison in the 60s, they were like, "You owe us 40 songs," and he was like, "I do." And he went in the studio. He was like, "Blah blah 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 blah." Fucking did that shit. On the mic. He's like, "That's that song. That song's called Beer in Here," and he's like, "Beer in here. I got a beer in here. Yeah. Beer in here." And he's like, "Yep. That's beer in here." All right, next one. We got Shoe and Glue. And he's just fucking
Shoe and Glue.
Oh my God.
And these guys were like, "What the fuck, man?" The Rolling Stones, same shit. They were like, "You owe us one more single and you're going to fucking give it to us." And they were like, "Oh yeah?" So they wrote a song called Cocksucker Blues. And they gave it to them. And they went, "That's the song, Cocksucker Blues." And they went, "We're good." And they were like, "That's what we thought."
Yeah. That's a great song.
But, like, people are fucked up, man.
That's genius, though, but that's one way to fuck over the label.
Yeah, shit. Man. Yeah. So
in a grimy world, you gotta play grimy.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I think that's what it is, too. With DMX, it's just, like, he's so fucking rock and roll. He is rock. He's right.
Yeah, man.
The spirit of what rock and roll really is that lives in all great music, I think, is... That's what DMX has. Because he's punk rock, man. Yeah. He doesn't give a fuck. Yeah. He's wild. He smokes crack. He fucking releases #1 albums like it's nothing. Like, come on.
But
he's so vulnerable and real. He's a man of the people. That's what all of that
literally
shit
like
is,
a rock
man.
star.
He's a fucking rock star. Literally. He's like a classic rock star in the hip hop and rap arena. That's what he
Shirt
is.
Off. Yeah, man. Water everywhere.
Not giving a fuck. You know what I mean? It's like he was never really like he was never swindled on the snake oil of successes and stuff like that. He never really fell to materials and shit. Like we said, like he was like that dude could have just been buying whatever the fuck he wanted, and he's just like, take me to Subway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, but you can eat caviar. He's like, I want that fucking Subway sandwich.
And that shows you the real him, man. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Dude. That documentary is like. Mm-hmm. Definitely go watch it.
Yeah, it's worth a watch for sure. It's on HBO.
Like, before we end this podcast,
yes,
I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
In the Biggie song where he's talking about Welch's, what do you think he's talking about? Is the Welch's grape jelly? Is it Welch's grape juice?
Grape juice.
I always thought grape juice.
Oh.
I heard a lively debate with a Mr. Tom Segura, a comedian. And they were like, I heard a lively debate of what the Welch's could be.
T-bone steak, cheese, eggs, and Welch's grape.
If you're having eggs, is the grape jelly?
Well, I'm thinking, but he never says toast. But you would put the grape jelly on the toast. But he doesn't cite toast.
Grape juice.
But you're having eggs, bacon. You're having steak and eggs.
Grape juice.
You have some toast, man. I always thought grape juice too. I always thought the beverage to go along with the meal.
I want to say like grape juice in New York was like a broke man's drink.
Okay.
You feel me?
Interesting.
That's
you know what I mean?
I always thought grape juice, but the lively debate made me want to ask the question.
Yeah, I don't know. I always interpret it as the jelly.
Why do I
but
always?
the juice makes sense.
Why do I
And the
always bring in a
ethnicity, too.
rap food?
Yeah.
The ethnicity, you know,
I wasn't gonna go there.
culture. Nah, I'll go there. Shit.
Looks like I'm too white to suggest that one.
You let me know. I'll chime in.
Like like
you see this skin? No fucking tan.
Ethnicity,
at all.
bro.
Not even
Yeah,
close.
hell yeah. I'm Spanish. Shit.
He's like, I burn.
that's just funny.
Yeah.
Also, this is a second episode with you where I brought up some kind of food-related rap topic.
Yeah. Well, because we did talk about Biggie before on the last episode with Phil.
What we
Right.
talked about, I mean, we got rap snacks. This
And we
last
have
rap
episode.
snacks.
This
Yeah.
episode, I was like, man, I have a question I wanted to ask you guys.
Yeah.
No, yeah, hell yeah. Grape
Right on.
juice.
So yeah, check it out. DMX. It's on HBO.
Wonderful documentary.
Don't
Yeah,
try to
beautiful.
understand. I've watched it like 4 times already because I just want to watch DMX. Like I don't know what it
If
is.
you're even if you got all the way through this podcast and you still don't care about DMX, if you just want a documentary about a human, this DMX could be anybody. And this documentary is
Yeah.
captivating. So
Yeah.
check it out.
Definitely,
For sure.
man.
Check it out.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, comment,
Yes, sir.
all that good stuff.
Share
Follows, yeah, share all that stuff. You can find us on Instagram, on YouTube, Facebook. I started a TikTok. I don't know how how it
Okay.
works or what we're gonna do because I'm just an old man who listens to Moldy Records, but we'll
alright.
figure it out.
Yeah. Run the streams up, man.
Yeah. Also, Rap Snacks. Come on, get at us already.
Yeah.
And Liquid Death too.
Yeah, Liquid Death. Murder your thirst. Liquid Death. Send us some Liquid Death.
Yeah. So I just want a couple cans.
Yeah, we just don't
I
want
really like the lime one. It's
we don't
nice.
want to pay for it anymore.
Yeah. Well, Phil, thanks for coming on, man.
I appreciate it.
It was great
man.
having
yeah,
you,
I had
dude.
a good time.
Thanks,
We're
Phil.
gonna
Like
have
I
you
said,
back.
I was nervous before, but
Yeah.
that was good.
Yeah, you get
did
used
good.
to it.
Yeah,
you
I
know.
appreciate y'all.
Yeah, once you get warmed up. But
it's
Yeah,
weird how you
again.
get nervous for nobody.
yeah,
You're like
Yo,
nobody's
yeah.
here, but you're like, oh man.
but it
Yeah.
could be. It's gonna be somebody.
Yeah.
So yeah.
One day, yes.
But anyway, yes. Thank you for coming on, man.
I enjoyed it.
We'll see you again soon.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Take it easy. Get in the garage.
Get in the garage, baby.
This has been a presentation from the Wasted Robot Network. For more information and links to other shows, please visit www.wastedrobotrecords.com/podcasts.